Hi, I'd like to talk to you today about why I'm applying for Grubhub's grant. I'll tell you what I plan to do with the money and why it's important. But first, I should explain to you how I got started with Grubhub. At the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, I had been working for several years at a normal, traditional, I should say, job. And as more and more information about the virus came out, it became apparent to me that it was not safe to work in that environment because of how much exposure to other people there was at that job. So I quit and went back to college. Now, naturally, I needed a new source of income. So I applied for Grubhub, got on the local waiting list, and eventually was invited to start driving. And what I really loved was the flexibility. I was able to study when I needed to, go to class when I needed to, and work when I could. And without that freedom to work when I could, I think I would have had a much harder time, or maybe have been unable to complete my degree. So for that, I'm very grateful to Grubhub, and I'm inestimably proud of attaining my degree. So thank you, Grubhub. Now, on to the meat of the matter, the grant. What I would like to do with the grant is to start a small business, specifically a farm, growing a highly profitable culinary ingredient, which I won't name on this public video, but I'd be happy to share it with a representative of the company. But it's all above board. It's not like a cash crop, like a vice like tobacco or anything. It's something that the company could get behind. So, but it's not just for my personal benefit. You see, what I'd like to do is use the proceeds to fund several charitable causes. I guess I'll get into that now. There are three main areas that I'd like to focus on and contribute funding to. First is academia. Right now, the United States has a bit of a literacy problem. According to the Department of Education, 54% of Americans can't read above a 6th grade level, which is frightening, especially in the era of mis- and disinformation. So I'd really like to contribute to the promotion of literacy, but I'd also like to contribute to the promotion of STEM education, because in the 21st century, that is perhaps the most important field for our country's future. The future leaders of our country should be well versed in it, lest we find ourselves unable to compete with the rest of the world. So other than those, I'd also like to contribute to the funding of research that normally doesn't get funding because it's either seen as unprofitable or perhaps risky or unconventional. Secondly, I would like to fund in one way or another agricultural preservation. I come from an agrarian community, and I believe that small farms are very, very important. And it's disheartening that more and more of them are being used for building developments. So anyway, thirdly, I would like to contribute to environmental conservation, because as we all know, the environment is in dire need of some help. So I'd like to fund environmental cleanups and, if possible, the buying of forest lands, wetlands, and other wildlife havens, I guess you could say. So anyway, please do consider me for this grant, because if you contribute these $10,000 to me, if you put that $10,000 in my custody, it will have the impact of much more than $10,000. The spice I intend to grow can bring in up to $200,000 per acre, and I have several acres available to me. So, the profits from that would be going toward making the world a better place. And over the years, if all goes as planned, that would add up to the millions. So a $10,000 donation for startup costs could absolutely impact the world in a much greater way than $10,000 normally can. So anyway, thank you very much for your time. Again, please consider me for this grant, because I think I could do a lot of good with it. And if given the grant, I would put all of my being into it. So thank you very much for your time. Hope you're all well and staying safe. Have a good day.